Hello, I'm Jim Roberts. I'm the host of Senior Living in Alexandria. We're here again this month. This is the month of December, just before the holidays, and we've got a really good program for you on some of the things that happen at the holidays. The nature of this program, we show up every month and with a variety of guests, and it's not just for seniors, but for caregivers, family, friends, people that care a lot about seniors, and hopefully we're providing some useful information in a timely manner. And that's what our goal is. And the reason this is timely is because it's the holiday season, and we're going to talk about some of the things that can be afflictions, problems during the holiday season. And my guest is Rhonda Williams. She's with the Department of Community and Human Services. She is in charge of the older adult mental health team. And she's been with this program before, and we've learned a lot generally about her program, but we want to focus on the holidays. But first, let's get a little bit of background for the viewers and tell them a little bit about yourself, how you got in your job, and what your responsibilities are like.
Sure. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm also a gerontologist, and mental health is my specialization.
Okay.
So I like working with older adults. I think older adults have a lot of rich memories and learning and values that are amazing for us to keep on sharing. So I enjoy that type of work very much.
Did you start out doing that, or did you evolve into it through some experiences you had, or find it rewarding and move that direction?
More that direction, yeah.
Okay.
I started doing lifespan with all ages, and then I found that I really enjoyed working with older adults.
Is Lifespan a name of a program, or just Lifespan that you take anybody at any age?
Lifespan is a focus in the psychology fields, meaning that you would be studying from birth to death.
Oh, okay.
And at first that's how broad I wanted to be, but I've enjoyed narrowing my focus more on older adults.
How long have you been with the department?
21 years now.
My goodness, good for you. What does the older adult mental health team do? What is?
Well, we have a team of mental health trained professionals. Most are licensed, some are master's prepared, and we provide services in the home, in the community, in the senior centers, and in our own offices to provide family therapy, individual therapy. We've done couples therapy. We also do mental health case management, which is more of a care coordination approach, helping people coordinate with their doctors, because many times older adults are on a lot of different types of medications, and we want to be sure we've coordinated with all of the doctors about any drug interactions or any different things that have been observed. So we do that type of work on a regular basis. We also do outreach, prevention, assessments.
Are you organized so that each member of the team has all those capabilities, or do you specialize, and how do you work together as a team?
We do have some specializations. I have an excellent master's level mental health case manager, and she's fantastic with resources and with helping people get connected to the right things. She also is very astute in noticing any medical problems and picking up on those things. Everyone on the team has geriatric certification. And I also have 3 therapists, senior therapist level, and they do clinical assessments, they provide therapy. Sometimes we mix, and we also have our case manager work doing therapy as well in a group situation. We do group therapy, we do prevention, we do a lot of outreach. My favorite part is doing the outreach and the community events.
Okay. Let's turn to the theme that we've got. That's a rich background and a variety of experiences that you can bring to bear. The concern was holiday season, and in terms of depression and people feeling out of sorts, and what sorts of things do you look for? What can happen?
Well, it's a good topic because I think that with some education people can prepare themselves. Most of the time, we notice that people who struggle with actual holiday blues are people who've experienced a loss around the holidays, or perhaps their family is far away and they're not sure that they'll be able to see them. So sometimes they may be even in another country. They're more prone to experiencing some holiday blues.
Is that holiday because you have memories or heightened expectations, or the rest of the time you kind of get along, but you remember things from your childhood or from family times or whatever in your life, and so it's heightened awareness? Does that occur?
Oh, definitely heightened awareness. And we also have people who have been more solitary most of their lives, but that just kind of points that out. It's a cultural event that is very family focused. Every commercial you see is families sitting around the table, or the songs that we sing, going home for the holidays, or those type of things. So there's always a constant message coming out. And people do tend to build up a lot of hopes. For older adults, it's not so much that they always overcommit their holidays. It's more that they hope for things that they're not always going to have. Okay. Also, losses can play into that a lot.
How do they or you recognize that how do they find it within themselves and say, I need help? Or I would expect it's more common that somebody else says, my friend has a problem, or you might find it in the course of your clinical work.
My friend has a problem, or I'm worried about my mom, or probably our two
family member
yes.
identifies.
And the other way that we find a lot is we do outreach groups in the community, and we do them on purpose so that we can provide prevention and education. So if someone who's perhaps attending a senior center or has a group in a senior building begins to share that they've been feeling kind of down, we can intercede quickly and help them find ways to compensate or cope with that.
Okay. Now, what kind of community events would these be, or outreach events?
Well, we do groups at the senior centers.
Oh, okay.
And we also will do periodically outreach groups at some of the senior buildings.
So if somebody's identified maybe having problems, a member of your team that's present would say, would you like to talk? Can I help you? Or is there something that we can help you with? Or
Yes, exactly. If it's in a group and they've already shared something, that makes it the most easy. But sometimes it's more that they become more silent or withdrawn. And yes, my team is trained to be observers of human behavior, and they would definitely reach out. And
is that reaching out resented or inappropriate, or is it well received?
We usually do it pretty respectfully. If we just, hey, Susie, how you doing today? And if Susie doesn't feel like talking, okay.
Are these people that are known to your team, that they've established a little bit of a relationship, or are they usually
If
strangers?
they're coming to a group, they are known to the team, because we would be doing a group regularly at a certain place.
Okay.
If it's an outreach that's someone else has referred, we often ask that the person who is worried provide an introduction, because that can be awkward otherwise.
Okay. We're going to have to go to a break for a few minutes, but we'll come back, and when we do, I'd like to hear some of the ways, maybe an illustration of a case of how you've helped a person once you've identified what they are and what their problems might be. So I think that will be helpful. So we'll be back.
Great.
We'll be back.
probably not even thought about going to college if I wasn't placed in the foster system and given the tools and the support.
Before being a foster parent, I didn't have kids, but now I can say I'm a parent, and these kids just teach you different things in life that when you're not a parent you don't understand.
I'm more confident. I can talk to people, socialize, go outside the house and not be afraid of what people might think.
The foster care system has a unit that supports us on a monthly basis, monthly check-ins, conference calls, training, for instance, to help us to help the kids.
My foster care experience was a very positive and successful one because thanks to being placed in a foster home, I feel like I've achieved things that I couldn't have.
I lost my job and I needed help with food.
And having the SNAP benefits has really helped because I can eat, I don't have to worry about being hungry, and it's a blessing.
I feel more comfortable in my life. There's a little cushion that I can lean on, and security is really the main thing.
It's helped me a great deal. Without it, I wouldn't even be able to eat some days, so it's helped a lot.
I receive Medicaid for my children through the Department of Community and Human Services.
My son Tucker here is a Medicaid recipient. When Tucker was about 3.5 years old, he had a seizure which led to a brain injury. And we actually got onto Medicaid while he was still in the hospital.
The 11 years I didn't have permanent employment, so the Medicaid was beneficial to us because I didn't have health insurance. Now I have a permanent job, so I have my own health insurance.
Medicaid provides secondary insurance that helps pay for some of these costs that are not covered by primary insurance. The equipment and things that he needs to have the kind of care that he requires are simply out of reach when you add everything up.
Without Medicaid, I probably wouldn't have been able to afford the medical services that my children needed at the time.
The biggest thing for us too is they help to provide funding for childcare, which basically allows me to work.
Workforce development. I know it as JobLink. They have really helped me in the direction of locating work, getting employed.
Today, I've become a financial officer. Everything that I've wanted is in that position. Apparently, without WDC, I wouldn't have had any of this.
Thanks to JobLink, Workforce Development, through a job fair is how I got that job. I feel better about myself. My self-esteem is higher. They gave me the right tools, and I use them, and they are great tools to work with.
That's how I became who I am, finding a good job with a good organization in a good position. And that is what WDC, through their support, has helped me do.
Today, I am a more informed parent because of having Medicaid. It made me aware of what kind of medical needs my children may have.
I am very grateful for them because I feel like they took very good care of me.
Well, because of SNAP, I could say that I'm a better person.
It certainly helped us to be able to afford some of the things that we need to care for him.
I feel much better about myself in my life right now.
I have more patience. I think that's one thing my kids teach me is patience.
Hi, I'm Catherine Dixon with Rebuilding Together Alexandria, and we are a local nonprofit organization that creates and preserves affordable housing here in the city. And we do that mostly by providing free home repairs to low-income homeowners throughout the city. And we use hundreds of volunteers each year to make those repairs, which range from roof repairs to installing smoke and CO detectors to grab bars and handrails to fixing lighting, etc. We run the gamut to fix up homes so that they are safe and healthy for the residents. And most of our work is done by volunteers, so we're always seeking volunteers. And you can call 703-836-1021 to volunteer or apply for our program.
We're back, and I'm here with Rhonda Williams of the Department of Community and Human Services, City of Alexandria, and she's part of the director of the Older Adult Mental Health Team, and we're talking about the holidays, and that should be a joyful conversation, but we're focusing on her professional expertise as it relates to depression among seniors. Before we went to the break, we talked about how that's identified, that family, friends might identify that someone's not quite feeling right. Can you give an example? Okay, so they've been identified. What happens next in terms of your caregiving, in terms of your professional work with them? What happens next?
Well, let me back that up just a little
Okay.
and talk about things that a friend or a family member might notice.
Good, thank you. Good.
Often when a person's struggling with depression, they become quieter, more withdrawn. They may refuse to go to some of the things they normally would like to do.
Okay.
They may not have a good appetite, or they may just want to eat a lot of comfort foods. It could go either extreme. And they also may not enjoy the things that they usually enjoyed. For example, maybe they always liked concerts, but they do not want to go to a concert with you. Now, just one incident doesn't mean a person's depressed,
Right.
but if you notice a common theme, then those are some warning signs that you might pick up on. Another is either sleeping a lot or not sleeping well at all.
So anything that's out of the normal, not anything, but something might signal that they're out of their ordinary pattern of
Yes.
living, eating, sleeping, whatever.
Exactly. And if it's someone you know well, then you will know if they have a history of loss that's connected around the holidays. An example is we worked with a lady who had lost her daughter, and her daughter had died right before the holidays.
Oh my, okay.
So that meant every year she had a hard time as the holidays were coming around. She was referred by a family member who was worried about her. And over time, we've worked with her on helping her develop strategies to get excited about, to look forward to something, to do something different, to, yes, recognize that person that's no longer there. But sometimes when you do that, if you just look at pictures or think about them, you can get more sad. But if you find a way to recognize that this is something they would have liked, and because of that, you're going to enjoy it too, that can be a more positive focus.
Is a good strategy involvement with others, in a volunteer project or some activity, or a tree lighting or
Definitely.
caroling or something, to try to get them engaged with others?
Yes, we really try to encourage people to get out and to spend some time with other people. Doing something to help someone else is often a way to boost your own spirits. And we also try to encourage friends and family members just to be a little more alert to anything that seems out of the normal, and maybe encourage that person, hey, let's go do this together.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, there's such pressure at the holiday time to do extra on top of what your routine is. So there's good opportunities, but also a lot of pressure, and that might exacerbate some of their feelings about it. I can't cope with this too much. I'm too busy. So.
Well, that is true, and it's easy for some personality types to overcommit and to find that they're not really enjoying the holidays; they're just stressed. That's another whole balance act that we need to work on when we're looking for how to enjoy our holiday season. But for a person that's struggling with depression, that's not usually their issue. Their issue is usually that they're more withdrawn and they're not really wanting to do any of those things.
What if they refuse? They say, there's nothing wrong, in a very abrupt, curt manner that signals that there's something wrong. What do you do?
Well, we do, as I mentioned earlier, outreach visits. And a lot of times that is exactly how we engage a person in services and treatment. Someone that's concerned about a friend, a family member, a neighbor, we'll ask if there's something we can do, and we'll come out and meet with them together and say, we're understanding that your friends or your family are worried about you, and if we talk about that.
I was meaning more they would refuse your overture for help.
If a person refuses completely, they certainly have that right.
Mm-hmm.
And if that were the case, we just encourage the people who do know them to keep trying, to keep trying something, even if it's just to bring something over and sit down and watch a show together with them.
Okay. Isn't it? It also goes into the beginning of the year. That's a transition point in the year, and what happens after the holidays? Any things that are different, or is this a continuation of what you've been looking for and caring about before?
Actually, no, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because we find with the older adult population that after the holidays is more difficult, because if you were looking forward to seeing family members that live out of town, you may have another whole year before you might see them again. That can be very discouraging. Or you may not have gotten to see someone that you really wanted to see.
Right, that disappointment.
Or you go through the holidays and you kind of try to drag yourself through, but by the time you get to January, you're thinking, I don't even know why I tried, because the days are shorter. That does play into it.
Dark, gloomy, maybe cold.
Yep, and being more shut in because of the cold and the ice and the snow. So we actually find January to be a pretty difficult month, and for that reason, we are out in the community a lot. We try to be out encouraging support groups, encouraging, groups in buildings to take care of each other, things like that.
How do people access your services? I mean, how do they? You approach them, you're aware of them, but if somebody, a family member is concerned, what ways are there for that?
Probably the most direct way to get a question answered would be to call the Department of Aging. That number is 703-746-5999.
Okay.
And if you let them know that you are wanting to speak with someone about mental health or about a mental health problem or question, they'll direct your call. That number, we call it our no wrong door number. Somebody's going to figure out where to get you to the right person there. There's another access through central intake, but I think that calling the aging number is the more direct way if you have questions.